Hello, this is Doug Slay. I want to welcome you to this session of our teaching of Doug Slay Ministries and Institute for Living. We are teaching now and majoring on the subject of dominion. But by dominion, we don't mean just any dominion, but Bible dominion. I'd like to leave this statement with you or give it to you in the very beginning, that Bible dominion is different than what most people think about dominion. I discovered this, that dominion absent of grace is tyranny. We see a lot of tyranny in the world and dominion being exercised through all kinds of evil deeds and atrocities. But Bible dominion, I say it this way, it's hard on the devil, but is easy on people. I'd like to leave that statement again. When we talk about the Bible dominion, it's all of grace. And dominion absent of grace is tyranny. And dominion, Bible dominion, was never intended for any single person to have dominion or exercise dominion on another person. God never gave us the right to lord it over people. But He did tell us to cast out devils. He told us how to exercise dominion. So when we're talking about dominion, we're not just talking about any dominion, we're talking about Bible dominion. And it all begins in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verses 26, 27, 28. In there, God said to them, to the man and the woman, let them have dominion. Dominion is part of who we are, and God said let them have it. Now this is no random statement, but it is an intentional statement. And I'd like for you to pick up on the word intentional, because if you can find and discover God's original intent in anything, you can trace it throughout the Bible and get a clear picture of it. So this is an intentional statement by God when He said, let them have dominion. What was He saying? He was saying, let them rule. Let them have dominion. Let them be in control. And let them subdue everything outside the garden. You see, man was created in the image and the likeness of God. And he was created to rule. He was created to reign. He was created to subjugate everything that was not subjugated to God. And he would conquer all lawlessness brought into the earth by the fall of Satan. Now this included all the fallen angels. You see, earth was the prison house, so to speak, of the enemy of God. And as I mentioned, plus all the angels that fell with him when he rebelled against God and he was expelled from heaven. So we see that the earth that God sent men to have dominion over, to rule over and to reign over, was no piece of cake for man. God knew what He was doing. He had a purpose for man. He had a reason for giving him the right to rule, the right to control, because there was something He wanted him to do in the earth. And earth needed to be subjugated. It needed to be brought back into the plan and the purpose of God. And it should be brought back and made according to the pattern that was in heaven. Man had both an awesome opportunity and a great responsibility in this. As God's vice regent in the earth, man was privileged to be God's point man in making earth fit for heaven. I'd like for you to get that statement. Man came and was given dominion not to get man into heaven, but to get heaven into the earth and do it through man that God created and put there. One must remember that it was the original intent, as I've already mentioned, not to get man into heaven, but to get heaven into the earth through man. Now the reason I keep emphasizing that is because I don't think many people think about it. But even one day, when all this is over and the consummation of all things, there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and the the earth will be the visible representation of an invisible kingdom, and God will be working through it. As I mentioned, this is a very important statement, and it should not be overlooked. I'm talking about the original intent. Say those words out loud. Original intent. In the beginning, as I've mentioned, it was not to get man into heaven, but to get heaven in the earth. I just did a simple research and just recently on how that God so spoke that the glory of God would cover the earth, that the knowledge of the earth of God would fill the earth. That's God's ultimate and original intent. This was in the mind of God when he said, let them have dominion. Let them rule. Let them conquer. Let them exercise dominion. And they would prevail against everything that was in lawlessness against God. Now we should remember that the garden was only a small part of the earth. But it was God's will that all the earth come under the domain of God. The earth was to be the visible representation of an invisible kingdom, and for man to live in it and to have dominion in it. And it always, and it continues to this day, God has a will in heaven that he wants done in the earth. That was what was happening then. God had a will for the earth, and that was in heaven, and he wanted it carried out in the earth, and he gave man the right to exercise dominion to cause that to come to pass. And it still continues to this day. When we pray, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. This is what it's all about. We are bringing heaven to earth. Every time somebody is born again, every time someone is healed in their body, the kingdom is coming. Dominion is being exercised. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thank you, and God bless you.